Our first team is LayOP. Team members include Armaan Goyal, Aditya Narayanan, Ananth Palaniappan, and Abhinav Prasad. Good luck, gentlemen.
So before moving to Cornell as a freshman, me and my family were able to stay at this lovely bed and breakfast inn in downtown Ithaca. And during my stay at this inn, I was fortunate enough to interact with the owner and manager, Ben. During our conversation, Ben told me about the small teams that he manages on a day-to-day basis, the prices on rooms that he sets, and he even spoke about how he remains competitive in this digital age. And something that Ben said really stuck with me. Ben said something along the lines of, I need intelligent sales and marketing decisions. Otherwise, I end up leaving money on the table. So this quote may seem trivial to you as it did to me back then. Me and my team at LayOP have realized that this problem of intelligent sales and marketing decisions persists across the ends of the hospitality spectrum. And it's a problem that LayOP aims to solve. Before moving into what LayOP really is, I'd like to take some time to briefly introduce each team member that makes up LayOP. Hi, I'm Armaan. I'm a hotelier sophomore minoring in information science, and I specialize in marketing, finance, and pitching to VCs.
Hi, everyone. I'm Abhinav. I'm a junior studying computer science and mathematics, and I have experience in software engineering as well as data analytics.
Hi, I'm Addy. I'm a computer science and philosophy major, and I've got experience with machine learning and financial engineering.
Hi, my name is Ananth. I'm studying mechanical engineering, and I have experience in product management.
Awesome. So now really delving into what LayOP does. Essentially, LayOP is an AI-enabled decisioning platform that analyzes real-time online sales channel data, such as those found on Expedia and Booking.com, to enable hotels to optimize their digital competitiveness, and in doing so, maximize their profits. Essentially, our end users are general managers, sales managers, and hotel owners of properties. They would hop onto our platform, get data-driven decisions, and then do two things. One would be to increase their revenue by really maximizing the occupancy that they can gain and also increasing the revenue that they gain per available room. And the second would be to decrease their customer acquisition costs, which directly affects their bottom line. Now I'll pass it on to Abhinav to talk about our product specifications.
Thanks, Armaan. So why is LayOP necessary? Ultimately, hotels have a rocky relationship with online sales platforms. Online sales platforms include OTAs such as Expedia, meta search engines such as TripAdvisor, and hotel platforms such as those offered by Wyndham and Choice. On one hand, online sales platforms provide many benefits, including access to sales and marketing budgets beyond the capabilities of an individual hotel. On the other hand, they're ultimately biased platforms focused on their own revenues. Expedia and other OTAs charge commissions of up to 35%, while hotel companies impose harsh restrictions to their franchise agreements. The individual hotels are left to fight a war on two fronts, trying to balance the demand of the OTA along with the demand of the franchise. We like to think of LayOP as a white knight trying to fight for the little guy. LayOP will be delivered as a software as a service application with add-on modules to allow hotels to customize LayOP to their own needs. Our base product will launch in January 2021 with our add-ons coming throughout the rest of the year. Our base digital competitiveness dashboard provides an overview of digital competitiveness and digital visibility across platforms. For example, Ben could log in and view his performance on Booking.com as well as other sales channels, and also look at his different search terms to get more thorough analysis. Beyond the digital competitiveness dashboard, LayOP will also include detailed summary report alongside our additional add-ons. In the summary report, hotels can see an in-depth overview of sales platform performance. The reports will be sales platform specific, identifying problems that are specific to each. For example, Ben could see that his rankings lowering his views, hence lowering his bookings. Our strategic decisions module is really at the heart of what LayOP does. The strategic decisions module provides concrete, cost-effective solutions to hotels' digital competitiveness problems. For example, Ben could see that by adding certain keywords, he'd be able to dramatically improve his search engine ranking, therefore increasing his revenue and also his bookings. LayOP's Forecast Optimizer add-on will allow hotels to have a look at long-term booking projections, allowing them to identify possible problems, as well as capitalize on any opportunities. The Parity Notifier module provides real-time alerts when hotels' prices are not in sync across their sales channels, or when their competition dramatically changes their pricing. This can help them avoid fines as well as avoid lost bookings. We arrived at LayOP's features through intense market research. We've spoken to over 80 stakeholders across the hospitality industry, visiting over 55 properties in our target segment. Through this, we've established over 95 client connections, both online and offline, and are proud to state through all our efforts, we've secured over 40 plus test clients who have provided us a letter of interest who are willing to test with LayOP. Now I'd like to hand it over to Ananth to talk more about our market and our competition.
So let's take a look at our market first. The US has approximately 58,000 hotels. Our target market is mid-scale select service franchise hotels like those by Choice and Wyndham and independent hotels. This target market makes up almost 80% of the total market. We're focused on independents and select service franchises because these are the hotels that can adopt new softwares quickly and benefit the most from our digital competitiveness product mix. So who is LayOp's competition in this space? Some other companies exist in hospitality tech, and we categorize them in two ways. First is how biased the product is. Some products are biased towards the profits of OTAs and big brands rather than individual properties themselves. Second is companies' product offerings. Some are focused on solely managing room rates rather than the broader digital competitiveness we earlier explained. As you'd expect, OTAs have products themselves, but they push their own end line, recommending marketing strategies that increase the OTA's profits rather than a property's profits. Similarly, brands push their own sales channels, like Marriott Bonvoy. Hotels hence get subjective, non-optimal strategies from these companies. Some other companies in hospitality tech exist, but they're also focused on largely room rate management. Customer discovery shows that this is a very narrow-minded approach because it can lead to hotels simply undercutting each other to compete. Hence, there's a niche in the market to focus on broad digital competitiveness. This is the niche that LayOp will fill. Moving on, Adi will show you our rollout strategy.
Thanks, Ananth. As you can imagine, our rollout plan was significantly affected by the COVID pandemic, but our product development should be on a similar track. Since we plan to launch in January, we started early development of our product back in February, where we started designing our system and gathering the data which we would require. This development process should continue until June. We will bring clients on board to our alpha development process in April, where we will start with our first 50 test clients to understand what features and metrics are the most useful and effective for them to make decisions. Finally, our beta testing round, which use around 100 to 200 test clients, will begin in August and go on until December. This testing round will primarily fix bugs and develop a smooth, reactive platform which is easily accessible for all our clients. Our original marketing strategy as well will change quite a lot. We originally wanted to leverage conference marketing from May onwards, where we would have targeted hotel owners and management company executives, not only since they are responsible for most decisions, but also since each owner would have around 20 to 50 properties in their portfolio. Networking in the industry, however, is still the most effective way to get clients, and that won't change. So we are targeting these same individuals by leveraging Cornell's alumni network and professional social media websites like LinkedIn. Our targeted email campaign as well shouldn't change that much, where we will target these same individuals. This will begin in September as we enter our beta testing round and prepare for our formal launch. In terms of our financials, we project that we'll be profitable by halfway through our first year post-launch, and we'll be making around $50,000 in revenue each month by the end of 2022. Our research and development costs will be low at first, but will grow as we develop more deep tech and ambitious products for our clients. Our operating costs, on the other hand, remain fairly constant after we break even as we don't see much need to employ significantly more people or more expensive processing as we scale up. We estimate that each property of ours will give us around $7,500 in revenue over a 5-year lifespan. Due to our low-cost marketing efforts, we estimate that it will cost around $78 to acquire each of these properties, and that property in return will gain around $4,300 of value by using our product. By the end of 2022, we estimate that we'll have around $600,000 in EBITDA. And now, for Armaan to conclude our presentation.
Great. Thank you, Adi. So this is why we think LayOp will succeed. We attribute LayOp's success to 4 factors. First, considering the market that we find ourselves in. The US lodging market, as you may know, is a $300 billion industry that sees annual injections of about 7% growth in hospitality tech, which is the subsector that LayOp is in. This shows that companies like LayOp have huge scope for success. The second factor to consider is that 45% of our total outreach have been converted to actual alpha and beta partners through letters of interest. This shows us that having 40 properties on board means people in the market have interest in what LayOp has to offer. The third factor to consider is, as you all may know, Cornell's Hotel School is #1 in terms of network, resources, and alumni, really allowing us to bolster our product development as well as marketing phases. And finally, the nature of LayOp's platform being a business-to-business or B2B SaaS platform shows for highly scalable growth, which is reflected in our 172% growth rate in terms of the number of clients we estimate to bring on. But the reason why we truly think LayOp will succeed is because at its heart, we aim to serve people like Ben, people who need intelligent sales and marketing decisions. Thank you.
LayOp team, thank you for your presentation. We'll now take 10 minutes And we'll turn the time over to our judges, Heather, Chris, and Sandy. And we'll give you 10 minutes to ask your questions and then for the team to respond.
Sure. First, I'll start, and obviously Sandy and Chris will jump in. I think we've all found this very interesting. And first off, congratulations. Being so agile and moving from in-person to doing it in this format, I think you did an incredible job. So thank you and well done. I can imagine the anxiety of coming into this. So well done, team. A couple of questions from my perspective, and actually the slide right before this, since it is still up, if you don't mind popping back up, that one. Can you just walk through a little bit? I guess where I'm going to is that you show a tremendous increase in terms of your ARR from year 1 to year 2 in 2021 to 2022, from a 250,000 to 1.3 million, which is a big steep curve. So I just want to make sure that those numbers are driving and I'm understanding that and how you think you're really going to scale in that short amount of time to drive some of these. And then second, just to spend a little bit of maybe another minute or two on this, just to make sure I understood what you were driving at here.
Right.
Thank you very much. That's a great question, and I think I can take that. So in terms of our growth, the biggest advantage of LayOP is that it doesn't need to integrate with any of the hotel tech stacks. It's a standalone product, so it could function like Netflix in the sense that hotels could essentially just hop on, join LayOP, and pretty much as soon as they enter their payment details, they could start using LayOP almost instantly. So this would allow us to use free trials and spread our product out spread it out quickly. And on top of that, our price we feel is pretty low and very competitively priced. So that would allow, alongside with LayOP's value proposition, would make it pretty easy to market and spread. And just also another factor for growing ARR is the fact that we have more add-on modules. So by 2022, we'll have more of the modules, and the average revenue per customer will go up. And
so you were requiring or looking at, for the most part, manual entry of this information versus it being from an automated or linked to a PMS. Is that correct?
No. Sure. Like in order, since it's more OTA data, it would be automated in the sense that it would be scraping and using that information. So it would be automated, so there'd be no entry requirements, but it wouldn't require the PMS systems, which are significantly harder to integrate with.
Right. And did you sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry for cutting you off, but just to delve on what Abhinav was saying, through our customer discovery, we realized that a lot of the companies we know and hotels use today, some of which I won't mention, basically they concentrate more on, let's say, the PMS integration aspect of it. It's rather than really honing in on how can we better give hotels or our customers better decisions. And better strategy. So they're concentrating on really capturing the entire market, which is obviously the right step. We just looked at the problem from a different angle or a different lens, so to speak. We thought if we could leverage the fact that OTAs, meta search engines, different websites on the web have so much data to offer, why not leverage that and just eliminate that whole process of integration in itself?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, no, I think how you've laid it out in terms of the love-hate relationship that most properties do have with OTAs is an interesting business model. And there were just a couple of things in your deck that you shared ahead of time in terms of reconciliation if you're part of a brand or a franchise, and it's okay maybe to incur fines if you've got things. It was just, there were some interesting parts to your business model, as well as your graph showed, this is a heavily competitive space that I would envision or would be surprised if there weren't other developments, particularly in terms of what we're seeing drastically changed over the last 4 weeks in terms of what OTAs are going to have to do for their own survival and business mechanisms. Right. So I'm just kind of curious if you've built in that those places that you had listed on here, and you did talk about it a little bit as your exit strategy, but how much did competitiveness come into in terms of how you were trying to look at this?
So that's actually an excellent point that you bring up. And it's something that, as soon as, even before the whole COVID crisis, that obviously has affected our industry in ways that, maybe didn't happen before. We've been thinking about what, is really the biggest value prop for hotels or our target segment to really use LayOP. And we realized that the strategic decisioner module that Abhinav talked about, how we would categorize, digital competitiveness is basically digital visibility. anything that psychologically or in a marketing oriented way can increase your cost, your clicks on any website will really drive revenue. We did some initial research into some papers about the billboard effect, some papers by Chris Anderson, who is actually our advisor from the hotel school. And we've realized that there are certain things that companies aren't really looking at right now that we may be able to leverage in terms of the strategic decisioning module. And if anyone wants to add on anything to that, please feel free.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Chris
Armaan
or
covered it
Sandy?
pretty well.
I think Armaan covered it pretty well. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Right. I don't know, Chris or Sandy, did you have anything?
Well, I have a few questions. I'm trying to read them right this moment. This is a comment. First of all, I like that, this plan is, thinking about, part of the chain that has been cut out for many years. And, I'm wondering, I got to page 3. I'm a non-hotelly, and I'm not a computer person, although I'm in the food side of the business. And I certainly use and have read a great deal about this area and OTAs. I actually didn't really understand what the product was till page 3. I didn't feel like, if you are somebody who is evaluating plans, it took me time. Now, obviously the deck shows it, but I think it took me a long time in reading the plan to get to what the product was. And if somebody's throwing plans aside, because they have so many, it might be something that they just wouldn't bother going forward. So have you thought about that when you look at your plan, that you're going to confront people who don't really understand fully the terminology, the definitions, et cetera?
Right.
Yeah,
Right. That's an excellent point that you bring up. And it's actually something that we've faced during our customer discovery phase as well, because we spoke to not only, GMs from hotels, but we also spoke to some tech evangelists, some investors, and so on. And we really try to hone in on the important feedback. And we realized that with a product such as ours being B2B and then SaaS, there was a lot of context that really needed to preface what our product was about. With respect to how the industry is laid out right now. For example, Ms. Jacobs, she mentioned that she knew about this war on two fronts that properties face, but a lot of people don't. And that's something that we discovered pretty quickly early on. And it's something that we've been trying to really tackle and fix with respect to the different decks that we put out, the way we market ourselves as people as well as our company. We really strictly defined how we would go about talking to people, knowing that they had certain information in their head and how to really build upon that. And again, it's like an excellent comment that you bring this up, because it's something that we found was actually a challenge during our outreach. And it's something that I think we can say that we've been working on fixing these past few months. In fact, we've come out with 4 different pitch decks. One for people such as yourselves who are obviously industry experts, but maybe on a different side for our customers as well, and just for general people in public. So we've realized that through this sort of trial, so to speak, we understand that there's information asymmetry, and we've been trying to really bridge that gap. If that answers your comment.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. It is iterative whenever you create that. So again, the sales cost still is not believable to me. Can you help me understand how you came up with the numbers? I'm trying to remember if this was 19th. I'm getting confused. To gain this amount of sales with the low cost of sales. support.
Right.
All right. Before we get in there, we've got just a few seconds left.
Okay.
LayOP team, do you just have maybe a quick 30-second response to that idea of, or the question of, scaling, ramping up so quickly, especially from a cost side?
Sure. So a lot of this has to do with our method of marketing ourselves, which is primarily to target individuals rather than leverage stuff sort of like advertisements and things like that, because in the end, we are a B2B product. However, since we are priced sort of at a more C2C scale, at a more consumer level scale, we can target hotel owners primarily who can use the same product over multiple properties. Moreover, since we're primarily targeting these individuals at higher up scale by leveraging conferences and networking, like as we talked about through the Cornell Alumni Network, so every single client we actually acquire gives us around 40 properties or so whenever we actually get them on board. So that's sort of how we envision ourselves scaling up. And even just by going through conferences, and we look through how other companies as well leverage conferences as well, they scale up pretty well as well by just simply using conference marketing.
Okay. All right. Thank you, judges, for those insightful questions. Team, thanks for your thoughtful answers to that. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Nice presentation, guys.